Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
Really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
It is episode 208, Weather Weekly. Good to be with you. Happy holidays. Hopefully you had a wonderful Christmas and Hanukkah, and it was a little soggy, a little mild, but hopefully you were able to get where you needed to go on schedule with some of the weather that we've had over the last several days. And this holiday week now continues as we look ahead to the new year coming up on Wednesday, 2025. So this will be our last podcast episode of the year. We always appreciate you guys tagging along, and we've got some very, very big changes coming our way as we head into January and the start of the year after kind of a very mild stretch, especially for this past weekend, and kind of wet too. It is a heavy dose of reality coming our way with some big time winter chill and several snow opportunities, even in the short term. So we'll talk all about that. That's coming up here for the week ahead. Last one of the year for December 30th, 2024. Coming up next year on Weather Weekly.
Looking for ways to save on your energy bills? AES Indiana has you covered. From smart thermostats to home energy assessments, we offer simple solutions to keep your home comfortable and your costs down. AES can help you save money and energy with kits, tips, rebates, and more. Visit aesindiana.com/ways to save to learn more about how we can help you save money. AES Indiana, helping you discover real ways to save.
Audible's Best of 2024 picks are here. Discover the year's top audiobooks, podcasts, and originals in all your favorite genres. From memoirs and sci-fi to mysteries and thrillers, Audible's curated list in every category is the best way to hear 2024's best in audio entertainment. Like a stunning new full-cast production of George Orwell's 1984. Heartfelt memoirs like Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's Lovely One. The year's best fiction, like The Women by Kristen Hanna, and Percival Everett's brilliantly subversive James. Audible. There's more to imagine when you listen. Go to audible.com/imagine and discover all the year's best waiting for you.
All right, it is episode 208, last one of 2024. Good to have you along. Let's go ahead and dive in because this is a busy one here this week. There's a lot going on. And I know that, again, it's still a holiday week. Kids are out of school, and so you may have some plans. I want to kind of just guide you on what to expect as we go throughout this holiday week. Here we'll begin with the 30th, which is Monday. And after kind of a soggy end of the weekend, we'll start to dry things out a little bit. I think it's going to be cloudy for especially the first half of your Monday. We may start to see those clouds breaking a little bit during the afternoon hours. I do think the winds will dial back a bit as well after kind of a blustery and wet day on Sunday. And I think highs are still going to be hovering around 50 degrees, believe it or not. So it's going to be quite warm for this time of year heading into your Monday. And again, I think the daytime hours are going to be dry. Now, we have a big system coming in for New Year's Eve, and this is going to usher in some massive changes to our area. And so I think we see the initial stages of precipitation, and it will be mild enough that we'll keep it liquid as early as Monday evening. We'll call it mid-evening Monday, all right, with some scattered showers. I don't necessarily know if they're going to be completely widespread. Our probabilities get a little bit higher as we get deeper into the overnight hours, okay? And as we get closer to daybreak, then on Tuesday, it does become a bit more widespread. So maybe some isolated showers early on, so late evening, and then more widespread after midnight, heading into Tuesday, all right? Overnight lows falling to the low 40s, heading into a Monday night. Let's go into Tuesday, New Year's Eve, and it looks pretty wet from what we are looking at currently on in-house projections, looks rather soggy with scattered showers early on. And as we go through the day, it does look like we'll eventually get some colder temperatures diving in. So just kind of bank on Tuesday just being a pretty wet day, a little breezy too. I don't know if it's going to be quite as wound up as what we had this weekend, but look, I think we probably could see wind gusts getting up to around 30, 35 at least. Any wintry precipitation, I think, holds off until late Tuesday night. It actually could occur close to when we're ringing in the new year. It may be a little bit after, but we do have colder temperatures that are going to be funneling in back behind this system. So I think it's all rain, maybe an additional 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. There could be some very isolated spots that overachieve and could pick up an inch of rain for Tuesday's system. And then on the back end, we flip that switch to some light snow showers after midnight, it appears, especially for the northern half of the state. Okay. We will see the numbers tumble pretty quickly. So your New Year's Eve highs will be in the mid 40s. And then New Year's Eve night, overnight lows will fall to just below freezing at around 30. All right. New Year's Day is Wednesday. I think we have a lot of cloud cover. We're now kind of funneling in that colder Canadian air, and this is going to be our new pattern, and it's going to be around for a while. So enjoy kind of this mild stretch that we'll have at least for 1 or 2 more days, because it is back to reality, and it really will settle in, and I'll focus on that coming up here in a bit. But New Year's Day, lots of clouds. I think some scattered light snow showers are likely, especially for the northern half of the state, coming in throughout the day. All right. So our highs will only hit the mid 30s. You're not going to climb much, right around 34, with that slight chance of snow. And again, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot. Where you do see snow, there could be enough to maybe give you a light coating on some of the roads. So be aware if you do some traveling on New Year's Day, there could be some slick spots for areas north of I-70. All right. But I don't think we're going to be, measuring with a ruler or anything like that. Not yet anyway. Okay. And that will all quiet down by Wednesday afternoon. And our flow becomes a bit more out of the west-northwest, so we're not tapping into any lake effect moisture or anything like that. Thursday, we look pretty quiet for the day. There is a little wave that some of the projections are modeling to come in by the evening hours. Little clipper system. And it could squeeze out a little bit of light snow for the early to mid-evening hours on Thursday. Again, probably not going to be too measurable. Could be enough to give you a little coating of snow, and certainly cold enough that we could be slicking up the roads a little bit. But overall, I don't think we're going to have significant travel concerns for Thursday in the evening hours. Heading in, Thursday's highs, by the way, do sneak into the mid 30s, and overnight lows will dip down into the low 20s rather. We're just going to continue to get colder from here. All right. Friday and Saturday both look pretty quiet. I've got highs only into the mid and upper 20s both of those days. So awfully cold there. Now, where we start to get into the land of voodoo a little bit, I call it. There is, in both the European and the GFS models that we look at, both advertising a really wound up, massive system coming our way Sunday. And I won't get into too much detail because if this were to hold true, we will definitely do a special podcast as we get a little bit closer. But we've seen this a million times where you're a week out and you see, some of these projections, and by the time you get, 48 hours or closer to the event, it's not what it initially looked like. So there's a lot that needs to be kind of dissected here, but I'm just kind of giving an early indication, heads up on Sunday, because there is a pretty decent system where it just depends on track. Some areas could get a pretty good thump of snow. Others are going to get some pretty heavy rain. There's one model that has us pretty much all rain through most of the event in central Indiana and then flipping to snow, overnight heading into Monday. Another model has it being an all snow event, and it would be a pretty good thump here in central Indiana. Now, are one of those two right? Maybe. Are both of them wrong? Possibly. I mean, that's why, we don't want to get into too much detail this far out. We want to kind of look into, what's happening a little bit closer. And I know that it presents a problem when you do this podcast, a week in advance or, a week away when you're talking events like this, that a lot can change, and it has changed. But I think, the goal as meteorologists is we are here to give you a heads up about things. And the beauty about podcasts is I have no limitation on how many I can do during a week. So we've done it before, haven't done too many recently, because we haven't been hit with too much significant weather. But those of you that have been listening to this podcast long enough know that if we do have something significant, we will jump on, put it on social medias. We'll have a push alert and all that fun stuff. And if you are already a subscriber, you will see that, I pushed one out here on Thursday or Friday, which is unusual, right? I don't send those out in the late week. So if you see one, something is brewing, and so we'll walk you through that there as well. I'm also, posting on social media. I try not to hype it up too much. You will see probably a lot of hype on social media, unfortunately. Those people are just trying to get clicks and all that other stuff. That's the kind of era that we live in. But just know that if you're seeing people posting on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for an event that is scheduled to happen on Sunday, it's nothing but guesswork. All right. So just take it with a grain of salt. Okay. And just be cautious of what you share on social media. That's all. It's all fun. I'm not, I'm a nerd. I like seeing different, possibilities and all that kind of stuff too, but got to be careful about what's being shared on social media. That's all. So that's just my little soapbox. We will keep you updated on that though. It does look to stay, regardless of what happens with this weekend system, the long-term pattern does look awfully cold. So it's been a while since we've consistently been cold. We've had some bouts of it. But I do think that we're probably going to start getting into this trend of staying pretty cold here as we roll through the heart of January. I'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll talk about some of the December stats as well and wrap things up with a little bow for the last podcast of the year. That's coming up next here on Weather Weekly. All right, let's talk some climate stats here. We'll do the official December numbers next week. Obviously, we still have a couple of days before we are officially done with the year. Yeah, we'll do the year too, I guess. I didn't even think about that. We'll do December too. That'll be coming up in next week's episode. Let's talk numbers so far. Now, again, this isn't going to be factoring in all of Sunday's rain because we were recording this on Sunday. So, month to date, as we see it here, precip-wise, 2.53. We've actually done fairly well for the month of December. We're only 0.08 off the mark for average. So pretty good, and I would expect with some of that rain that we're going to get for the rest of Sunday, and then obviously we mentioned the Tuesday rain coming our way, we'll probably end up being right at or just above average in terms of precip. So good deal there. For the year, 41.33, we're down about 2 inches. We'll probably end up just shy, down probably about an inch and some change when it's all said and done. Snowfall for the month, only just shy of an inch, 9/10. So just shy of an inch. We're down 4.7 inches of snowfall. And for the snow season, 4.2, we're down 2.3. All right. So that's where we stand there. I mentioned that we're going to get pretty cold here. And it is reflected now in the 8 to 14 day. Looking at some of the projections with the models here. And I always mention that, temperature trends, you kind of get a good feel about, what's going on in the extended, precipitation wise. It's kind of hard to pick that out, but a very strong signal now for the eastern half of the country for the time frame of January 5th to the 11th. So that first full week of, January, cold. Below average temperatures is what the signal is there. No real strong signals either way for precipitation, kind of calling for near normal conditions there. And the January outlook calling for, there's no strong signals either way for temperatures. I would venture to guess that we're probably going to get a new update here, probably sometime this week. I think that may change just from based on some of the modeling that I've seen. Probably going to lean more toward below average for our temperatures. Okay. Precipitation, some decent signals that we could go above average in terms of precipitation. So we will see. That's again for the whole month of January there. Just for example, I mentioned that the weekend is going to be pretty chilly. The national blend of models for Indianapolis on the 4th, so that's Saturday, has a high of 25. It does have highs in the low 30s on Sunday. I think that one's a little wishy-washy still because of that storm system that I mentioned at the end of the last segment, the one that could either bring us rain or snow. So that is going to be very dependent on where that track goes, right? It could actually be a bit warmer than 31 if track goes north. If it goes south, it could be a little bit colder. So we'll see. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you've got high. So this is the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Numbers are into the 20s. And maybe on the 8th, we don't even get out of the teens in some parts of the state. Wind chills likely, especially during the overnight hours, are probably going to be near zero in some cases. So it's going to be that cold. And so just kind of diving in deep then, I mentioned the 5th through the 11th with the 8 to 14 day, saying below average. I went a little bit deeper than that, just looking at some of the models. They do have some of these extended models that we can look at. And I mean, it takes us out, into almost February. But yeah, I mean, again, you lose a lot then. But it is interesting to look at the trends. It has the cold really kind of grabbing hold through at least the 20th of showing below average temperatures across much of the Midwest and the eastern portions of the country. Maybe even through the end of the month, honestly. It's either at or below. You kind of get in the land of voodoo there. It's so hard when you get that far out. But again, it's always interesting to bring up some of those temperature trends, but it's very strong signals between, New Year's Day and probably through the middle of the month, at least, that we're going to be awfully chilly. All right. Not dangerous cold, but definitely colder than what we've had in terms of an extended period, for this winter season. So it's coming for sure. All right. All right, that's really all I have for you here. Again, I just want to stress, keep an eye out on the forecast for this upcoming weekend. That's the 4th and the 5th for the potential of a system. I don't want to get into too much detail, but we'll keep you updated. I'm on my social medias, so hit me up there, and I'll keep posting what we know. I won't speculate on too much of what we don't know. And if it does serve for it, we'll do a special podcast coming up later this week, kind of focusing in on what the potentials are for any weekend system that could present some issues, okay? So just kind of be advised of that. I will post on my social medias if I am doing a special podcast. We'll probably do some Facebook Lives, all that kind of stuff. All of that will be on my Facebook and X accounts, so make sure you check that out. You can find me on Facebook, Marcus Bailey Weather. On X and Instagram, it is @Marcus Bailey. Okay, so all three of those should have some information for you. I'm not as active on Instagram, but definitely X and Facebook. I will keep that updated for sure. All right. If you have any comments, concerns, complaints, shoot me an email, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com. That goes directly to me. And again, you can hit up on my social medias as well. If you want our forecast 24 hours a day, a couple ways to do that. Go to our website, wishtv.com/weather. You can also get the forecast for free via the StormTrack 8 weather app, Android and Apple devices. I think you have to search Wish TV Weather, not StormTrack 8. Wish TV Weather will get you that free download there. That has our forecasts in there for you. And it will you can get all the alerts and all that other stuff as well. We also can push alert any special things like podcasts or Facebook Lives, that kind of stuff. So another good way to stay informed and updated. there. You can also get our forecast in central Indiana locally on the TV side on Channel 8, Wish TV. My forecast Monday through Friday starting at 4 a.m. Hope to see you there. While you're here, make sure to check out all the other great podcasts, all part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a wonderful week. Happy New Year. And we will talk to you soon. Take care and God bless.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.